Hi, my name is Natalie, and this is Natalie Lawyer Chick. I'll be discussing popular topics through a legal lens.
My name is Natalie. I'm a criminal defense attorney, and today we're going
to topics through a legal.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what you are. They started dropping it. The problem is.
Sylvester, month suspension fee, you know? Checkbook with you?
No, I just had some questions I wanted to ask for clarification purposes before I even make any type of plea.
Let me first read them off to you.
Yeah, because I don't know what they are. They've been so long.
Yeah, I see that. You don't even use paper tape. Wow, you got more too? Leaving the scene of property damage, accident. Move from the lane unsafely. Grange Hill Road. Unlicensed operator. Failure to reduce speed on a special hazard, which is a curve on Grange Hill Road. Well, those are pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
They come in with all 4 tickets are suspended, owes 35 times 4, 140 plus 140 is 280 on these. And then you've got speeding. Street 57 and 35. 511-0281, aggravated unlicensed operator on a previous second conviction. Another speed, 48 and a 45.
Wow, I was going mighty fast.
Wow, you were really
48 and a 45. Oh my gosh.
cooking. Then you got another 511-01A, aggravated unlicensed operator in the third, which is a misdemeanor. Okay, what are your questions?
Okay. First, I want to ask you if you honor your oath today, you actually operate under your oath, the oath you took to uphold the Constitution.
You're darn right I do.
Okay, because the U.S.
I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't.
No, I know. I just had to ask, just for clarification purposes. It says here that the U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Section 1, Clause 2. It says.
Clause 3, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's the next one. I'll be getting there. I'm on Clause 2 right now. It says, "This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, shall be the supreme law of the land." That's Clause 1. Clause 3 is, "The judges in every state shall be bound thereby, and any things in the constitutional laws of any state made in contrary to that is notwithstanding or without standing." Now, from my understanding, from the second clause here, every ruling made in the Supreme Court is actually becomes the law of the land.
No. The Constitution becomes my law of the land.
Oh yeah, no, it says here the Constitution.
Not the ruling of the Supreme
Yeah,
Court.
but according to this clause, it says that the Constitution and the law of the United States, which shall be made in the pursuance thereof, like during the proceedings, any ruling made in the pursuance of the law becomes law of the land as well, according to Clause 2 of Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution. I just want to make sure that, am I understanding
Article
that?
6 or Article 5?
No, it says Article 6, U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Section 1, Clause 2.
5. Wait a minute. Give it to me one more time.
Okay, U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Section 1, Clause 2. It says Supremacy Clause. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, shall be the supreme law of the land.
Okay?
Okay.
ahead.
So am I understanding correctly when I say that any Supreme Court ruling becomes law of the land according to Article 6, Section 1,
You can
Clause
use a
2?
Supreme Court ruling as a defense on such and such versus such and such. In other words, if there's a case law that says Smith versus Jones in Supreme Court ruling was XYZ, therefore I'm using that ruling as a defense.
Okay. So the Supreme Court rulings doesn't become supreme law of the land.
No.
Okay. All right. So according to what you just said, if I wanted to use this case and what was cited in this case right here, the case Thompson v. Smith, it says that the right of the citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon, either by horse-drawn carriage or by automobile, is not a mere privilege, which a city can prohibit or permit at will, but a common right which he has under the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So that was actually ruled in the Supreme Court. And I actually have a few other ones here I wanted to point out. It says here that this is Miller versus U.S. It says if the state converts a liberty into a privilege, the citizen can engage in that right with impunity. So I can just basically say, I don't need a license, regardless of what the police told me. I have a right that say I don't, and I can still engage in this right with impunity. Basically gives me immunity to whatever statute that was created, something that's basically impeding on my right.
Did John Abinader tell you to say this to me?
I don't even know who that
I
is.
had this argument, and I've had this actual argument on these cases of rights and privilege, by the way, when it does handle the motor vehicle license. Because when the motor vehicle license is charged for in the state of New York, it now becomes a right instead of a privilege. Because people say that you have it's a privilege to drive in New York State. Actually, it's been argued that it is a right to, because they charged you for a driver's license.
Wait, hold on. Actually, it's not a right. You don't have a right to drive. That is a privilege. And it's only a privilege because of the legal definition of the word drive. The legal definition of the word drive, see, commonly everyone thinks you get in the car and you drive. The common definition is you get in the car and you drive. But what the people need to wake up to is there's a totally different definition legally. It's called legalese. And that legal definition of drive is someone who operates a motor vehicle for hire, for business, for commerce. I wasn't doing it for any of those reasons. So therefore, I don't understand why I have to present a driver's license when legally I don't even fit the definition of the term drive or driver. And then in another
problem
thing,
is though is Sylvester, you are on the road that's maintained by the towns, counties, and state. Therefore, their opportunity to say to you, if you want to be on my property, you need to have this license.
oh no, I understand that.
I went through this.
I understand that.
I love this. We could do
the
this
reason,
for an
look,
hour.
okay, now the reason I understand that, and I agree with you, and that's because that's just like saying because everything is incorporated. This is all corporations. The United States is a corporation. It's been a corporation since 1871. It's been a corporation. This is a business. So I definitely understand. Like if I was chartered to do business over this whole landmass, and someone else came over here to do business, yeah, you're gonna need a permit from me. You need a license because I do business here. If you want to go to McDonald's and sell Burger King, you got to get McDonald's permission. I understand that. Now, when you say the definition of driver is someone that's operating for business, of course that person is going to need a driver's license or permission to do that because I was already charged to do business in this whole landmass of Turtle Island, and my business is called the United States Corporation, the federal corporation.
You have your incorporation papers with you?
No, I'm not talking about my incorporation, but I do have the incorporated name, Sylvester
Good
Collins.
thing you went last.
Yeah, if you like though, I do have my incorporated entity.
You know you got the Assistant Attorney General here today by any chance? Did you know he is here?
Is he here for me?
No, he's not here for you, but you just happen to got the king of the land.
Yeah, but I do
King of the
have
corporation.
I do have title over my
So
my
let me
corporate
ask you,
entity.
is your argument that you don't need a license to operate any vehicle?
I believe he's in like one of the citations was he was doing 48 in a 45 zone, right? Which is ridiculous for officer to even, pull him over. I suspect racial profiling, racial discrimination, something that petty, especially if he's non-black, or she's non-black. So off that, the judge would probably be inclined to throw it out because that's like just real petty.
let alone drive, push, or sway in and out of a driveway, you have that right without a license.
Yeah, according to legal.
Do you have a car?
Legally, I do.
You do have a car.
Yes, I do.
Okay, what do you do? Push it around the field?
Oh no, I travel in it, but I don't drive.
What do you do in it?
I travel.
So somebody else drives it?
No, I travel in it.
Is it one of those new Teslas that are driverless cars?
No, I actually
So
travel
if
in
you
it.
leave from point A to go to point B, you don't touch that steering wheel.
Now, see, from going to point A to point B is actually defined legally as travel. So that's what I'm telling you. I do. Yeah, I have it all here. I've been doing this work for years, so I wish I knew it when I got these tickets. I wouldn't be here right now, but I didn't know that then.
Well,
I know
after
it
a
now.
while, this becomes where they're gonna come after you in car. And that's not even a good thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that. I'm not really worried about that because I've already seriously. I've written already to the Oneida County Sheriff's Department, Utica Police Department. I've written Cuomo. I've written the Attorney General for the state. I've written to the New York State Department of Motor Vehicle, and all put them on notice of my rights and that I know my rights now. And I didn't know them before, but I know them now, and I don't expect to be harassed in my exercise of them. I'm not starting any trouble. I don't want any problems. I just want you to know that I know my rights, and I don't expect to be harassed or hindered in any way.
I wouldn't want you to, because you know what? In this court, nobody should be.
Exactly. I mean, no one in the world should be, but I understand that now, and I understand that I have to put certain authority figures on notice of that, just to prevent any problems or lawsuits.
Do you have any money?
I don't.
Do you use money? Money is a vehicle for you to go buy something?
No, because actually, according to Public Law 7310, there is no money. Because the only lawful money for us as the people was gold and silver. So when the corporation went bankrupt and took all the gold from the people, 7310 actually said that because they took the gold, there's no money for us to use. So anybody demanding that you pay can't demand that you pay them in a specific way, according to Public Law 7310.
Well, at one point back in 1950 something, when maybe I got the date wrong, when they produced the silver certificates, gold certificates, they took that gold and they turned it into currency in exchange for that. Have you ever seen a silver certificate?
I don't think anyone ever seen a silver certificate.
Looks like a dollar bill, and it says silver certificate.
That one, what you call the greenback, the one that got what's the name in all that trouble. That he tried to put it into. He tried it, and they basically killed him.
Well, let me ask you this: there's an offer on the table from the district attorney. In full satisfaction of all this, he's willing to take away most of this. Is that something that you're interested in?
Oh no!
That
no.
won't stay on. You funny, Zane.
No, I mean, all of it has to go according. Is this legally? Legally, yeah.
But there's an offer that he's saying, just plead to this and this and this, and we'll take care of all these things. But you have a right to a trial. Did you know
Yeah, I know
that?
that, and I was gonna ask that because I know that these courts, usually traffic courts, are not, let me say, like court of record. So, in order for any of this to really have any type of weight, is, not to damage your integrity or anything like that. But if I can state this stuff in the court of record, I know it would carry so much more weight. So I actually would prefer a
So you
trial.
want to move this to the county?
I mean, unless you're willing to dismiss it right now for what I've told you so far. But if you're not, then yeah, I'll go to trial before I take a plea or.
Yes, but the problem is, first of all, you have the right not to take this plea. You have that right. You also have a right to a trial, and you have a right to either use yourself or pay for an attorney of your own.
Yeah,
You do have that right. Everyone is presumed innocent until guilty in my court. Everyone that comes in here, whether it's criminal or even everything down to a V&T, everyone is innocent because the person that gave you these tickets doesn't necessarily mean that they were right.
I wish I knew who gave me those tickets. I wish I had a copy of those tickets. I wouldn't even be here if I had a copy of those tickets. I would not be standing here right now. That is a fact. If I had the names of the officer who wrote those tickets, I definitely wouldn't be here today. Or those badge numbers, I definitely wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't even go after them personally. I would just let them know that I know and give them a chance.
It wasn't you.
Yeah, what state is this?
Okay,
We got a lot of boards
You knew this was coming.
in Maryland.
No, he knew this was
Maryland-
coming. The guy in that room right there knew this was coming. He knew this was coming. When I first told him,
Now, by the way,
he turned into a
this
tomato and said, tell Judge.
Promoted as
Talk to the judge.
I have
Moore's
argued your point
studying working correctly.
in nauseum with other
Keep
people.
that in mind. Like,
You know how long it took me to be able to argue
Like,
this? To be able to
yourself.
retain it to the point where, and mash it up and digest it
You're
to the point where I
close.
could.
Do you want to, do what? Well, we gotta get those files out of the way.
Yeah, I just need to put these on the record and it'll take 5
Is-
minutes.
Hang on a second, Sylvester. Paul, do you know if your client's coming?
Yeah, well, both of the, Hadley says
The rain is not even on the fourth.
his client is gonna be here at 3:15.
Okay, where's yours?
No, I don't have one. Rick
Yeah.
Morrow represents the other one.
Is he coming?
As far as I know, the question was whether or not he was gonna be here at 3:15 with Hadley. I didn't have any, when I talked to the clerk yesterday, she said that she saw that it was, there was a notation in the file that Hadley's client was gonna be here at 3:15, but she didn't see anything in the file about, Morrow's client. So in an abundance of caution, because I didn't want, them
Looking at
coming in
no
and
rain
expecting
and
me to
on
be
the
here at 1
forecast,
o'clock. I wasn't
I'm
gonna,
getting drops of
go
rain in
at
my face.
3:15 or 3 o'clock and make them wait, because I didn't know if he was gonna be here. So I showed up at the appointed time, just in case,
I did say
Rick
a
Morrow showed up with
small
his client.
percentage.
So I'm assuming that he's,
To get later,
Can we call
11
Rick
p.m.
Morrow and just ask him if he's planning on showing up with his client, which is,
Right now, it's supposed to be
Evans?
10%.
Let's get on that right away.
yeah, that's fine.
I don't want you falling asleep.
It's fascinating, Judge. It's truly fascinating.
About because
A couple times I got thrown out, but I actually had one lady that was like, "Hey, you're right. I know it's fraud, but we only do it Albany." Said, "Right, Albany." That's when I went
What
home
are you
and
gonna
wrote
do
6
when
different people.
what are you gonna do when you run across the guy that doesn't understand what you're saying?
I've been told this because I see officers in public and I stop officers and ask them, "Hey, did you know this? Why do you guys do this? Why do you write tickets?" And I had officers actually tell me like, "Hey, listen, you be careful with that because you have some officers out here that have Nazi agendas and you don't fit the description of the person who's supposed to have that type of knowledge. So you be
That
careful
type of knowledge.
before you just spill that off to the officer." So I'm careful about it. I don't look for trouble. I'm a very safe
You
traveler.
don't look for trouble.
Um,
You don't look for trouble.
Not a
You got no
drug.
place.
Yeah, exactly.
How about
Okay,
an
give us a
operator?
second.
All right.
Give us
Judge, how about, do you think he's an operator?
No. The car I have right now, I'm driving outside. My mom's the operator. She
No, no, no,
has
no,
the
I don't mean
license.
today, I mean on the day in question. of
He didn't
that.
drive.
I don't know that operator neither. I didn't own that car. The
Yeah.
person.
Hold on. All this rights to travel stuff, you got all these case laws and articles of confederation and the second article clause 2 in the Constitution, and your mom drove you to court. He didn't just say that, did he? So why you ain't just go drive again? Hold on. Or travel. Sorry.
Leaving the
So
felony.
your mom traveled you to work. So how come you didn't just travel yourself there? Hold on.
Oh, it is.
Of that.
Oh no, that operator neither. I didn't own that car. The
Yeah.
person.
No, I know, that's today, I mean.
No.
Give us a second.
All right.
Give us a
Judge, how about, do you think he's an operator?
No. The car I have right now, I'm driving outside. My mom's the operator. She
No, no, no,
has
no,
the
I don't mean
license.
today, I mean
You have
on
the
the day in
license, huh?
question of that.
Oh no, that operator neither. I didn't own that car. The
Yeah.
person.
No, I know, that's
We
not
are
the
waiving the
definition.
felony hearing.
Oh, it is. I can show you.
On the record.
The definition of
sending
operator is the
everything.
one who's licensed to have the car.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Let me show you.
That's okay.
Are you sure? Because
All this for what?
then you can't be certain if you don't want me to
I'm
show you the
absolutely
facts.
certain.
Yeah, all this for what? I mean,
I can call it to you right
you
now. I
have
can
to
show
have
you.
a
You
mission
sure?
statement. You have course of action.
Okay, so I understand
You
where
gonna
you're
let
coming from. No reason
everything-
to even continue speaking with
You're gonna let a
you.
driver license, car insurance,
I
registration
got
come
proof
down
right there. You don't even want to see it.
every time.
We
That's
already
goofy,
adjourned.
man.
See, what-
You always
You wanted
in
to go
court
to the
talking to
24th?
people.
No, we're gonna
Don't
waive
know.
the thing outright. The felony
Don't
hearing is
practice
going,
all
we're sending it
correct.
up to
No,
county.
no, dictionary doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's the vehicle and traffic law of the state of New York that controls, period.
The felony
End of story.
hearing.
And you can talk about whether you have free
Send.
unimpeded right to use the road, yes, to walk down the road, okay?
Send
But if
to
you're gonna operate, if
county?
you're gonna operate a
Yes.
motor vehicle, under the vehicle and traffic law, you have to comply with the vehicle and traffic law, and when you don't, you get tickets. End of story.
Okay. He's
I
still
heard that.
He's not
You get a
incarcerated.
ticket in the store.
Yes, he is, but he has 3 different jurisdictions and then work could be in Houghton County. I don't, this guy just called me, said he spoke to you and told me that he was gonna start paying you next week, and he couldn't be in court today, because he's getting fingerprinted for a job too.
They all are getting jobs. Brian Orsino.
So he promises next week.
Needs job. Needs update.
Passport. Passport. Passport.
Sorry, this, I just
That's
need the
for-
date to be.
The cook. We're adjourning to
He's a no-show for the 31st.
EP.
Subject
Yes.
to preclude from using.
Here from,
52 Mill Street, Bridgewater. This one here, State Route 315, Deansboro. You might as well send this over to Jackie.
okay, so 52 Mill Street?
Bridgewater, New York.
Oh, Massey Road?
Oh,
Oh, Ingram?
files waiting.
You want me to sit back down?
Yeah. What are we gonna do with it?
I mean, the reopen APD.
Oh.
This is on recording. Not recording.
Okay.
That's what the mother told me.
What was the original charge?
Well, what do you do?
We got him. We got him on camera.
Are you Sylvester Collins? This is Mr. Nolan, the AD. Go ahead, Mike.
Judge, in regards to the traffic tickets that are on for today for trial, I had the opportunity to meet with the officer that wrote the tickets. We spoke at length. Due to the, I guess, time period that has lapsed since the issuing of the tickets, the officer has reviewed his notes, reviewed what happened, remembers writing the ticket, remembers the incident very well, but had informed me that, in fact, he could not identify whether Mr. Collins is the same Mr. Collins that he wrote the ticket to on that day.
Oh, okay. So it's a technicality. Yeah. So this Moore, you see how they misrepresent their own information in their videos? He said all charges dropped. If you heard the technicality, the officer could not verify or confirm because of the lapse of time, how long this was since the traffic stop. He can't confirm which Mr. Collins he wrote the ticket to. Okay, it must be a brother or a cousin or a father or uncle with the same name, same last name. So he can't remember. So for that reason, the cop was like, "Yo, I can't. To be honest, I can't remember which guy I wrote the ticket to. I can't confirm. Can't even point him out." So it's a technicality. It wasn't like this Moore's bullshit work. See they be faking it, man. But the video says, "Right to travel in court, all charges dismissed. Study Moore's." Get the hell out of here. Let me rewind that.
Remember, is the same Mr. Collins for me that, in fact, he could not identify whether Mr. Collins is the same Mr. Collins that he wrote the ticket to.
All right, so I'll show you the video.
Identify whether very well, but
I'll show you the video. The reason why I wasn't sharing, I had the audio background because I was playing a lot of it without commentary. So I don't know if that matters when you're sharing in somebody's content. But that's why. I've seen Unc do it before. All right, so let me share.
what happened since due to the meet with the officer that wrote the ticket, traffic tickets.
Go
All
ahead,
right,
Mike.
so hold on. Let me just make sure. Okay, so everything is up. So their volume is low. All right, so now let me go back and listen to the technicality.
Judge, in regards to the traffic tickets that are on for today for trial, I had the opportunity to meet with the officer that wrote the tickets.
So he had the opportunity to review or talk to the officer who wrote the tickets.
We spoke at length.
We spoke at great length.
Due to the, I guess, time period that has lapsed
Due to the time period that elapsed
since the issuing of the tickets,
since the issuing of the tickets, now some cricket's gonna, birds gonna make all this goddamn noise.
The officer has reviewed his notes, reviewed
The
what
officer had reviewed his old notes, right? Involving the citation.
happened, remembers writing the ticket,
He remembers writing the ticket.
remembers the incident very well.
He remembers the incident very well. How can he not? He pulled over MoreMOORS, very memorable.
But had informed me that, in fact,
But he had informed the prosecutor that
he could not identify whether Mr. Collins is the same Mr. Collins that he
he cannot identify whether Mr. Collins was the same Mr. Collins. Go ahead. They all wear fezzes.
wrote the ticket to
That he wrote the ticket to
on that day. He just doesn't remember.
on that day. So he just doesn't remember. The cop just can't remember.
You know, for all intents and purposes, a minor traffic infraction at the time. So at this time,
So he said, well, all that being said, it is a minor traffic violation. It's not like the dude was on trial for burglary or armed robbery or, grand theft, grand all theft.
based on that, I don't think the people would be able to prove that Mr. Collins was the actual operator, although
So he won't be able to prove that Mr. Collins was the exact operator. You see what happens when you just watch the video for yourself? Because I know that no more wins in court their way. This pseudo legal shit. I know because every lawyer says that they there's no case where they actually won, which is bullshit jargon. The judge don't have jurisdiction. Wait till you hear this other shit.
we do believe that the officer could not get on the stand and say that definitively. So without being able to identify him as the operator or driver of vehicle, I don't think we prevail at trial. So instead of wasting everybody's time, at least on those traffic tickets, the people would move to dismiss those traffic tickets at this time.
Okay, and all tickets will be dismissed. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And that's okay.
So, but you seen the video? Watch. Well, hold on. Let's share the video again. Let's read this crap together. Watch video all the way through. That's exclamation mark. Charges dismissed. And at the bottom, this bullshit says all charges dismissed. Study MoreMOORS. I mean, just misrepresentation. But this is what these Negroes do, man. Like, to me, when I look at Jim Crow and I look at how stupid those whites were at that time, how radical and outrageous they were, insane, unlawful. Like I see the same behavior with a lot of these blackologists, these black revolutionaries, these Moors. I see the same stupidity, same denial, cognitive dissonance. I see it in these same people, straight lie. And so now somebody, and look, let's be honest, the average black person that you ever know, especially in this community, is a headline reader. We just read the headline, that's it. And now it's a fact. So many rumors has passed by just by the headline alone. So, and he encouraged you to watch it all the way through. I mean, that's just stupid advice to like act like the more study protocols are great. What he should have said was, you don't even got to watch it all the way through. Just go to, the 24-minute mark, and you'll see that all charges were dismissed. That's what I would have done if I'm going to lie.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I said.
All right, so that was the end of that. Let me take you to. Wow. I got all these tabs. I'm supposed to click before. All right. Okay, this is funny.
We have breaking news. And
Hold on. So I'm gonna stick on the MoreMOORS, but I'm gonna go with the title says as well. But check this out. So if you're not aware of Alex Jones,
the Alex
biggest pseudos in the country, okay? And Minister Louis Farrakhan actually had a serious seat with him. Like they sat down and they compared their conspiracy theories and dot the I's and cross the T's to make sure that their conspiracy theories line up. Yeah, so Minister Louis Farrakhan came on the Alex Jones show, and it wasn't like he was going to be Sean Hannity, where like challenged. Shit, Alex Jones liked Minister Louis Farrakhan. Like they're both conspiracy theorists, and the Nation of Islam has a record, a history of aligning themselves with the worst of white society. They was on record in the 80s, I believe 80s, where they had Jim Jones, yes, the Kool-Aid man himself, They had Jim Jones come speak on their rostrum. They was riding with Jim Jones. Now they with the anti-vaxxer crew. Just name Scientology. Like, yeah, they have a history. Robert JFK Jr. They're that crazy nigga. Like, they have a history of lining themselves with the worst, the less respected of white society. Then he go ahead and do a sit down with Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a major conspiracy theorist. A lot of white folks get their information from him. He has a website, a movement called InfoWars. Okay, so he said that the Sandy Hook shooting, that's in New Jersey, he said that those kids, nobody really died, and those parents were actors. And apparently, he caught a civil case, and it was ongoing. He also, his text leaked out. His defense attorney made a mistake and leaked his text to, I think, the prosecution, or somehow the prosecution got him. And they see that he committed perjury, right? He lied because his text say one thing and it contradicts his testimony another time. So like he's caught out a flat out lie, and that's perjury. You know, Lil Kim, perjury, you're gonna serve some time just off that. So anyway, he ended up pleading out. Look at it.
We have breaking news in the Alex Jones trial. The far-right conspiracy theorist ordered to pay over $4.1 million in damages to the parents of the Sandy Hook victims. The lawyers for the Sandy Hook parents were asking for $150 million. Joining our conversation, former Democratic Congresswoman
So you always go high, right? You always go high.
Donna Edwards.
So there you go. My boy got sued for $4.1 million.
Okay, can you supervise?
He settled out. Okay, so let's see what this is right here. This might be a little long. I'm going to save that one later.
As we continue today.
All right. Okay. So 4 officers were charged in the Breonna Taylor case. This was these are federal charges. All right. The Fed steps in, overrule the state officials, law enforcers, and they do their own investigation. And there, you might beat state charges, or might not even be brought up upon state charges. But if the Feds look into it, they can also bring charges upon you. And as you know, they got like a 90% conviction rate. So when the Feds knocking at your door,
Well, as we continue to dive
you're in trouble.
deeper into the new charges and exactly what they mean, we want to bring on Sam Markison. He's a U of L professor with the Louis D. Brandeis School of Law. Thanks so much for coming on.
Happy to be here.
So we want to start by jumping right into it. A lot of people wondering if Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron missed something when he only indicted one officer back in 2020. What's your take? Did he make a mistake?
I think it's very difficult to see these indictments today as anything other than a rebuke of the approach taken by the Attorney General and the limited scope of the case that was charged. With so many more things being in this indictment, the overlap really only applies to Hankinson and the use of force in the actual raid on the apartment. When you talk about the affidavit, the conspiracy, the cover-up, all those things were not involved in the state prosecution, and it's more than fair to ask the Attorney General why, because it's very apparent today that the U.S. Department of Justice took a very different view of the situation.
And we know Brett Hankinson, he was the only officer charged. That was for shots fired into Taylor's apartment.
So we know about that. The officer who was being charged for his bullet going to another apartment, something like that, had nothing to do with the case.
He was only charged on the state level. He was acquitted. Now he's charged again in these federal charges. Will that acquittal have anything to do with these charges? Will it have any impact?
Well, the first thing to say about that is that, again, that reveals dissatisfaction on the part of the Attorney General, the United States Attorney General,
right,
and the Department of Justice with how this case was handled at the state level. If they believed that that charge against Hankinson in the state prosecution had been handled appropriately and effectively, I think it's very unlikely that they would have said, let's take a second bite at that apple. And so they believe that they can prove these charges, that they can show that excessive force in violation of the Constitution occurred, and that if that didn't happen in the state prosecution, that that's a real problem about how that case was handled by the prosecutors here in Kentucky.
And finally, and we just have 30 more seconds, so it's going to be quick, but they are investigating LMPD as a whole. Individual officers can be charged. How do you hold an entire agency accountable if there is some problematic patterns there?
Well, the short answer is you look for systemic reform. You say, here are the problems that were shown by what happened in Breonna Taylor's apartment, but they're evidence of wider problems. And so you seek reforms that will change the way LMPD handles its affairs and then monitor how those reforms are being implemented.
Sam, thanks so much for coming on today. We always appreciate all of your wisdom and knowledge, especially on this topic. We really do appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so let's move on. I'm gonna bounce around a little bit because we got a lot of. Okay, so what is this right here? Let me see. I read
Takes care of the cars that take care of all of us, whether it's making sure pizza night goes off without a hitch or making the neighborhood safer for everyone.
We help the people that help the people.
Firestone Complete Auto Care.
You want it the way you want it.
Are you understanding what I'm saying to you?
You're not going to get every single thing that you want. It's not the end of the world.
This is how you start the party. Want this face to believe that?
I just wanna be free.
What is this?
Very important case, and it's a case that Taj Street Bay does not want you to know about. And I gotta tell you why he doesn't want you to know about it. Taj does not want you to know about this case because this is a case in which these guys were using documents and templates from Taj's website, lost, and the court got into discussion of why the documents were bullshit. In the section titled Plaintiffs Utilize the Hoax-Moorish Marrakesh Online Form, it identifies the source of the template forms that these guys used in the court as rvbaypublications.com. For those who do not know, RV Bay Publications is Taj's website where he sells some stuff and some stuff he gives away for free. Now then, if we go to the link that is cited in this 2011 rvbaypublications.com /ID92.html, we see that the writs of freedom which these guys used are still available on Taj's website, even though these writs do not have any legal effect. Quote, the seemingly hoax boilerplate is also among many boilerplate forms offered by the website rvbaypublication.com. All these boilerplate forms are ready to fill in the sense that the reader needs to type in only a few words of personal information into pages and pages of text, and B, appear to be nothing but hoaxes, since the contents of these forms lack any legal rationale, as well as products having titles that somewhat resemble actual legal documents but having the content that makes no sense legally. Now then, let's go back to Taj's website. Yesterday I got a comment from the bemused one asking, do these folks make money touting this bullshit? The answer is, you bet they do. Over on the store section of Taj's website, we can see that they sell nationality identification cards, right to travel cards, and student ID cards. Each of these cards costs $50 each, or you can buy.
Yo, no wonder these guys be fighting so much with the officers for these these documents, these identification cards. They're like, hell no, I paid 50. I got this for a deal, like 300 bucks. And you ain't gonna just tell me this shit is useless. No way. I spent 300. I'm gonna fight. You know, I'm gonna argue to the death on this bullshit that I got, because I paid. This ain't free. I paid over 300 bucks, and this officer ain't just gonna tell me this is useless. No way.
You can buy all three for only $130.
And I bet you that when it doesn't work, I bet you, like everybody else, even with the credit stuff, when they come back to Taj Tariq Bay and say, hey man, that shit ain't work, bro. I got mad court dates, mad charges. He's gonna say you applied it wrong. And he's gonna ask them what happened, what did they say, what did the officer say? And if they repeat it back verbatim, he's gonna find and make up some bullshit that they didn't do correctly. And that's why they didn't get off. But meanwhile, he's never gonna videotape, video record his traffic stop to show how it's really done. He's not gonna do that.
In addition to that, they also sell books teaching you how to dodge taxes and how to drive without a license. Now, let me just explain why this is so important. At the end of the day, the judge is basically a referee.
They decide what's allowed and what's not allowed on the court. Now, let's pretend you're LeBron James and you decide, you know what, I don't want to dribble the ball anymore when I run around. I'm just going to run around without dribbling the ball. That is never going to work because the referees are never going to allow that. The same principle applies to these Moorish arguments and Todd Sharik's paperwork.
Right.
The judges have already ruled that none of that is going to be allowed in court. None of that is going to be successful in court. So it doesn't matter what you think about the specific paperwork. Maybe you agree with what Todd says. Maybe you agree with what the paperwork says. But it's never going to work. Now then, one of the comments that I got on the first video argued, and I'm paraphrasing here, that because the Moorish movement started in 1914 and sovereign citizen movement started in the 60s and 70s, logically the sovereign citizen must have been copying from the Moorish movement and not the Moorish movement from the sovereign citizen movement. Now, while it is true that the Moorish Science Temple was established in 1914, Moors did not begin using sovereign citizen arguments in court until 1982.
So they're 22 years late.
In the case of Habersham Bey v. Commissioner of Internal Revenue. In this case, this guy argued that because he was a Moor, he did not have to pay income taxes. Now, the problem is that the white sovereign citizens have been trying this at least 10 or 20 years before then. If we go to United States v. Scott, 1975, we can see an example of a guy that was trying the whole, I don't have to pay taxes, I'm a sovereign citizen in 1969. And if you want more examples of this, just look up Gordon Call, who was one of the guys that started this stuff in the late 1960s.
Okay, so there you go. That's a little history.
Now, this is important for two reasons. Number one, it shows where Taj comes from. Taj is either one of these guys who was involved in the 1980s in copying sovereign citizen tactics and mixing them up with Moorish beliefs, or Taj learned from somebody who was doing that in the 80s.
Smoke them out.
More importantly, and for the purposes of this video, the fact that between 1982 and 2016, where we are right now, these arguments have never once worked in court. They have failed every single time. Yet Taj is out there on the internet, in lectures, on his website, selling products, selling documents, and giving them away for free in some exact cases, knowing that these arguments have never worked in court and will never work in court. And yet there are people on YouTube promoting these arguments, trying these arguments out in the real world. There are people and women like Corey Gaines trying this stuff in the real world, ending up losing their cars, losing court, ending up in jail, and getting shot, as happened to Corey Gaines. Anyways, back to the Bey v. Stumpf case. Another really good thing about the Bey v. Stumpf case is that it debunks the Treaty of Morocco argument that Taj and the Moors constantly bring up. Quote,
Hold on. Don't do that. Don't destroy the infrastructure, not the treaty. You mean to tell me you're going to destroy the treaty that everybody talks about? The reason why that they can do what they want to do, because they have perpetual immunity because of this Moorish treaty? You mean to tell me you're going to challenge the treaty? Don't do that. Come on, man. No.
This unique issue spurs from a single feature present virtually in every submission made in this type of case. The feature is that these litigants nearly invariably always invoke the Barbary treaties, and specifically the Treaty of Morocco, in the context of challenging their searches, arrests, confinements, criminal proceedings, bail fees, etc. that took place entirely within the United States territory and were effectuated by law enforcement and judicial officers of the state of New Jersey, Delaware, Virginia, Florida, etc. Quote, all provisions of the Treaty of Morocco are, however, wholly inapposite to these type of challenges. It's noted the Treaty of Morocco was executed, as with all Barbary treaties, with an aim to eliminate or at least curtail the ill of piracy plaguing the coastal waters and ports of the post-medieval North African geopolitical bodies, and B, eliminate at least halt the rise of the fees charged by the rulers of these geopolitical bodies to the then developing American merchantry for keeping the peace in the ports and coastal waters subject to their dominion. C. Frank Lambert, The Barbary Wars, American Independence in the Atlantic World. It is therefore hardly surprising that the bulk of these provisions of these Barbary treaties are focused on issues of maritime/admiralty, war, merchant purchases, sales, and akin matters, and B, were set forth in terms of protections of vessels. Quote, this is particularly obvious when in the Treaty of Morocco, which was a short accord consisting of 25 articles, with only 3 articles focusing on acts of war, vessels, merchant activities, etc., but on the acts against generic civilian human beings. None of these 3 articles could be read as applying to habeas or civil rights claims raised by the litigants against against state police or prosecutorial officers or judges as to claims based on the events of their arrest, incarceration, bailing, prosecutions, convictions. Indeed, Article 6 of the treaty was fashioned to prevent undue enslaving of American citizens and also to prevent theft of American citizens' goods in the Mediterranean by pirating Moors who were either of Moroccan or non-Moroccan domicile and who were taking undue advantage of the passageways, trade, accommodations, etc. in Moroccan coastal waters and ports. This article is factually inapplicable to the events which did not occur anywhere near the coastal waters and ports of the Kingdom of Morocco, and to top it all off, were not conducted by Moors. See the list of book. Under the treaty with Morocco, the locus of the treaty partners' interaction was confined to the Mediterranean, and therefore not within the geographical jurisdiction of the United States. And it cites its case in which a self-proclaimed Moorish minister was found to not have diplomatic immunity from criminal proceedings conducted in the United States territory.
Wait, what happened? Run that back for us.
Which a self-proclaimed Moorish minister was found to not have diplomatic immunity from criminal proceedings conducted in the United States territory. And now we get to the good part. Quote, it is well recognized that such organizations such as the Moorish American Nation and similarly imaginary creations like the Nation of Washita are notorious organizations of scofflaws and ne'er-do-wells who attempt to benefit from the protections.
Oh, so in the treaty, the Moors are not immune from criminal prosecution in the United States and from the lands of the law, the Constitution. Wow, okay.
Of federal and state laws, while simultaneously proclaiming their independence from and total lack of responsibility under those same laws. See Sanders v. Bay, finding that the Washita Nation is not recognized by the United States government. Bybee v. City of Paducah, finding that the nation of Washita is fictional. United States v. Gunwale, rejecting claims that the court had no jurisdiction over a member of the Washita as frivolous. Bay v. Louisiana, finding that the plaintiff's claim to land as a member of the Washita was patently frivolous and rested on documents of dubious legal significance. Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs, 2007, dismissing claim that plaintiffs owned several parcels of property by virtue of their Moorish ancestry as baseless, fantastic, and delusional, and finding the complaint to be indecipherable. Finally, Kitab L.V. Justice Department, holding that the United States has not recognized the sovereignty of the Moorish nation, thus precluding sovereign immunity claims. And finally, L.B. v.
That's bad.
The United States, 2009, holding any claims or arguments raised by plaintiff which are based on his membership in the Moorish American Nation are by definition frivolous. So in summary, trying any of these arguments, going into court and claiming that you're Moor is a complete waste of time. If you're paying Taj any money for this paperwork or anything, you're wasting your money. It is not going to work. You're going to laughed at in court, and you're going to lose and probably end up in jail.
And never have a license. And that's sad, man. These are Black people who cannot invent something, start their own business, have their own product or service the right way, and give you an honest product. and honest service, right? No hard work. They just borrowed a sovereign citizen. So basically, like these blackologist groups, they're anti-government, right? The government can't do no right. When the government whole position is supposed to be protect you from the states. The states are those that want to reinstitute segregation, Jim Crow, all these things. You dig? Voter suppression. These are the states. The federal government is set up to protect you, add some balance, protect you, relook at cases that the state botched, acquittals, no charges. The Fed's job is to relook at these cases to see if that person was indeed guilty. And that's the case with Breonna Taylor. Okay. So it's weird. I know why the alt-right, the right wing hates the government. I already explained that. But black folks, the federal government, black folks, your real beef is with the states. It was those local and state police out there whooping your ass and hanging you and all that type of stuff. It wasn't the feds. Sorry to break that to you. The Black Panthers out there, you dig? I'm sure the FBI had some roles, J. Edgar Hoover, but the people who are in your town, those are local police officers. Those are state police officers. They have more access to you. Anyway, we're done with that. That's an interesting piece. I gotta save that. Let me add that link in the chat. So if I ever lose this link, yeah, I got it. So that video basically blew up the whole sovereign Moors doctrine. It's over. There's no peace treaty. They don't have immunity from criminal procedures. They're not even recognized. Okay, all that shit was fake. The courts are not even set up to listen to the stupid shit. Okay, so now let's go to next. If I'm breaking up, let me know. If I'm breaking up, let me know. Okay, so where I want to go with this now. So just a reminder of what real policing is, all right? The Black Panthers were there to police the police, to make sure nobody's getting roughed up, violated, all that type of stuff. And if you did, and charges were trumped on you, the Black Panthers will gather up some money to get you bail, get you a lawyer. Okay, that's what the Black Panthers did, but they were known to police the police. They didn't go looking for trouble. They didn't go being the aggressors. They policed the police, okay? They knew the police was most likely some bullshit. So this brother right here, not a Black Panther. He ain't joined the organization. He just a dolo, he by himself, really. Not the brother that's about to be harassed or being let go. It's the brother recording this. He's actually policing the police. And all his videos, I'm gonna show another one. All of his videos are pretty much policing the police. And he's by himself and he's armed. He's in a state where you can legally carry. He's armed. And the police, like, he's so much of an activist. Like, this one person has done more than any of these black groups, all of them put together. Yo, this dude is so well known for his policing the police activisms that the police officers don't even argue with him anymore. Like, they just let him just go ahead and just do what he does. Like, he got so much respect amongst these racist dogs. So what he does that's important is that he educates the brothers and sisters out there on what not to do and what to do with the police officer detaining them. So that's great. He don't just sit back and record like a coward. He actually give instructions, some advice on what they could and cannot do, right? Not incriminate themselves. But that link I put in the chat, that's the nuclear bomb for the whole MoreMOORS sovereign citizen movement. Anyway, I'm not gonna waste too much time here. I'm just showing you the brother is policing. He's policing the police. He's video recording. Now his brother messed up. he accepted a field sobriety test. Maybe he did. I don't know. Yeah, I think he did. I'm surprised the brother behind the camera didn't let him know not to agree to that. Look.
He pulled out the damn breathalyzer.
Maybe the brother doesn't know, but according to the lawyer, the DUI guy lawyer, he said do not agree to a breathalyzer on site and do not agree to a field sobriety test. He said just let them take you in, but he said you got to take the blood test and the things at the station, but on site. He said the lawyer says that he's an expert with the DUI cases. He says do help your case, right? To help your case, do not agree to a field sobriety test or breathalyzer on site. And I will play it maybe today. Again, this is why I play a lot of videos over and over and over. It's not because I don't have more content. Look at all these tabs. I got hella content. It's to imprint this on your brain, in your brain, on and in your brain. So this information sticks. Now you know it like you know everything else. I'm not sure if the brother was aware that the brother holding camera who's policing the police, I'm not sure if he knew that the brother shouldn't take that field sobriety test. But anyway, let me exit that out. So this is the brother in his own police stop. Check it out. So this is the brother who was just recording just now. So this is his police stop.
How you doing, sir?
All right.
Everything going all right?
Everything's fine.
I see you going around in circles.
Is that against the law?
No, I'm just want to make sure you're all right.
It shouldn't be. What's your name, badge number, officer?
Deputy Sine.
So now I can only tell you what I would do, okay? Because I'm not a lawyer, none of that type of stuff. But I do quote lawyers and their advice and their suggestions. But what I would do, some police officers can find that kind of rude to ask them for their name and ID. So this is only for people who are trying to get where they gotta go. If you're trying to get where you gotta go, maybe you shouldn't do that because that's going to prolong the stop. Okay. And it could go left. Like, so if you think there's a chance you can talk the officer out of a speeding ticket, maybe you shouldn't go to police name and badge number. But if you believe you're being harassed, then you can ask that question, right? Because if you're being harassed and there's no slick talking, that's going to get you out of that ticket. So you might as well go all the way in. All right. But always have your recorder recording. Always have that. Oh, I ain't show my setup yet. I can't find a way to how the hell do I? You know what? I'm gonna take a picture of my setup now, and I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna do it right now. All right. So anyway, listen.
Deputy Sine?
Yes, sir.
5'3". Yeah, everything's fine.
Okay, just make sure you're okay. You got your driver's license on you?
I'm not giving you a driver's license for not breaking the law.
I know
No, just understand I'm armed.
Okay, I see.
Okay. I'm not giving you my driver's license for not breaking the law, officer.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure
you're driving around in the area?
I'm driving around in the area.
All right, you be careful then, okay?
All right.
All right.
You have a good one.
All right.
All right. You see how easy it is? He's not disrespectful. He's not contentious. He's just talking regular, but he's not a coward either. He's talking real stern. Like, yo, you just said I'm not doing anything illegal. So no. So keep in mind, people, that you only have to hand over identification if they're charging you or citing you for a crime. All this reasonable suspicion, detainment, that's not enough. Now, again, if I'm trying to just get home You dig? And he was probably going around in circles on purpose for his video. You dig? Knowing this brother. This is July 27th. He got about 20, almost 30 grand views. So he might do that shit on purpose, but he's doing it for an educational purpose, right? To teach you what the officers can't pull on you. All right, so I'm gonna show my setup in a second. Okay, let me get a better view. Okay, there we go. All right, so let me get rid of that and let's knock out some of these tabs. Okay, this looks interesting. I never seen this one.
I don't want to deal with you because I don't want to deal with you.
Why, she's gonna tell you the same thing?
No, she's not.
How do you know that?
Because you guys have stopped me before.
I've never
just by looking at me, you guys freaking pull me over, and I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this.
Okay, well, you need to relax, man.
That pisses me off. You know how many times I get stopped by you guys?
I've never stopped you before. I've never dealt with you, bro. I'm a cool guy, bro. As long as you keep it cool.
Obviously, my taxes pay you, right?
Okay.
Okay. So what? How come I can't have this right here, where I don't have to touch my phone if I'm going somewhere? And you have the same thing. What's the difference?
Because we're law enforcement. We're the ones that.
No, you're not above the law.
I can tell you're mad.
I'm pissed off, bro. Porque es que if this is the excuse, the only excuse that you have to pull me over. ¿Sí me entiendes? I know I have nothing on me. I don't have warrants. I have my driver's license. O sea, that upsets me.
Anybody can tell me. Okay, look.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
there's a way to legally beat.
Exactly. Don't cuss at me. Don't cuss at me. Don't cuss at me.
Hold up, because a lot of times police officers do write the tickets wrong, the traffic tickets, and it like I could have beat one had I known this information I know now. They wrote my name wrong, and therefore I was never really in the system. So my dumb self went down there and put myself in the system. My ticket, hey, I'm gonna pay this ticket. They couldn't find my name, but that white piece of trash, she ain't, deny my money though. That white piece of trash definitely took the money, even though I was not in the system. And then I learned later that you could beat those tickets, the ticket they messed up on. So yeah, those technicalities can be beat.
Listen.
Don't cuss at me. Don't cuss at me. Be professional in your job.
I'm trying. Am I not?
Don't touch my car.
Well, then let me see your driver's
I'm not gonna show it to you. Give me your supervisor. Give me your supervisor.
No, dude, I'm not kidding.
Give me your supervisor.
Alright guys, this video comes to you from a channel called the Martinez Fam. This is not a police accountability channel. In fact, most of the videos on his channel include him and his kids interacting and going on outings. He seems to be a good father as well. So the man has a tremendous amount of tattoos on his face and he feels the cops are always harassing him. He finally decides to begin recording these encounters. He feels he's being targeted or profiled.
Anyway, I just wanted to point out, everybody's recording their traffic infractions, and you should too. Right? It's just going to help you out. Okay, so we don't want that.
And Nas was.
We don't want that. Okay, we don't want that. All right, that's weird.
Islam family.
Okay, not that. These are some things I'm going to look at later. All right, now check this out. This is interesting.
Scheduled to be arraigned in Malden District Court tomorrow, members of the group Rise of the Moors taken into custody after a 9-hour standoff outside Boston. Leonidas Jabir Bey, a member of the group not involved in the incident, claims no crime was committed. Jabir Bey telling News 8 he plans to represent all 11 suspects despite not being a member of a bar association. He does say, however, he's represented himself and other...
So this Moor is going to represent all of the... How many suspects? 11 suspects. Now remember that they never win in court, ever, 0 wins. But he's going to represent 11 suspects. That means they all will be prosecuted.
For several times in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. In terms of the group's training, Jabir Bey would not specify where the group goes in Maine or what the exercises entail, only saying the trainings are frequent and that he has participated in them. The suspects face charges including unlawful possession of a firearm. Investigators say none were licensed to carry when they were found pulled over.
None were licensed to carry because they don't believe in license. They're travelers, and license are for those who are in contract with the states. Shit. Do not start. All right, since it's tripping up, let me show my setup. So this is my setup right here. All right, this is the car. All right, so let me show you this setup. Hope your car ain't too damn junky. All right, this is one phone right here. And obviously I had to take a picture with the other phone, but the other phone would be here. It would be there. Okay, so this will be looking at the cop on the driver's side camera. And this camera will be facing at the other police officer, or sometimes the one officer goes to the passenger side if the road is like unsafe. All right, so, but if there's two police officers, I got two cameras on both. All right, this is what I do. All right, so I just took this picture just now. So you know what I do. All right, so that's the setup. Let me go back to the Moors who were all arrested.
Military-style uniforms with numerous guns. Jabir Bey argues the men had the right to carry, claiming federal laws should supersede local laws related to gun possession. In transit, Massachusetts requires large-capacity weapons be stored unloaded in a locked case. Jabir Bey says the group is not anti-law and members are American citizens, but the group's own website states members seek equal justice under our own law, not under...
Oh my God, man, oh man, oh man, the audio is going to be janky. I don't know what's going on.
United States government, also stating members are not citizens of the United States.
We're not citizens, really.
According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, followers of the Moore Sovereign Citizen movement have come into contact with federal and state authorities over their refusal to obey laws.
And
President Fetta's award-winning taste can transform
Rise of the Moors
into a special.
Made the news big time. Okay, now check out the Moors are out of control. Like, if you thought a black group was out of control and we had to worry about them, the Moors are number one. Look at this right here. Look at this.
3 homes, an apartment building, and a church, all before any of the real owners knew what happened.
Stephanie Kinley and Jeremy Davis have been caught and convicted of multiple thefts. But this brazen crime has left many people wondering how in the world they managed to do it.
Tonight, Local 12's Dwayne Poland investigates how a simple seal was the key to these crimes that terrorized a local family for weeks.
It was a nightmare.
The nightmare for the Runk family was the theft of their home.
It's crazy.
A theft involving this couple.
Look how psychotic they look, yo, especially her. Like he's straight as hoodlum. Look, they know how to find the right women. He look about 35, she look about 42. He got a little MILF, a little crazy MILF.
Bizarre claim.
He has identified himself as a sovereign citizen.
A break-in.
There we go.
Police being called in.
Get your hands up or we sell.
And most importantly, the prosecutor says it involved this, a fraudulent deed.
We felt violated.
In late January, Stephanie Kinley and Jeremy Davis.
These are sick people, man. They gotta be the #1 ops to the black community, the Moors. They making us look really horrible, man. Really horrible. The Moors / sovereign citizens. Really?
Moved into this home on Hamilton Avenue, owned by Reno Runk and his wife.
You wouldn't think it was going to happen to you.
But it did. Both Kinley and Davis have been convicted of theft for stealing homes and properties on Hamilton Avenue. But before they were arrested, the pair simply took over the Runk family home.
There was just stuff everywhere.
Like they owned the place.
Yeah.
Which on paper they did.
Yeah.
On January 25th, Kinley and Davis filed this deed at the Hamilton County Auditor's Office, allowing them to claim the home as their own.
Yeah, they put together a fake deed to get fake ownership and was awarded fake ownership. Yo, crazy, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
But the signatures on that deed are not real. Reno Runk and his wife never signed.
I never imagined that someone could just forge a deed and take your home from you.
So why did the Hamilton County Auditor and Recorder's offices allow this deed to be filed? It turns out anyone can forge signatures and steal a home if a notary public signs and seals the document.
Wow.
Is it really that easy? It's pretty easy.
The deed that led to the theft of the Runk family home has a seal and signature from this woman.
Are you Julie?
She is Julie Kathleen Taylor, the same one who notarized the deed that led to the theft of the Runk home. Taylor runs 24/7 Mobile Notary LLC, which means she meets people across the tri-state who need documents notarized, which is what she says happened when she met Kinley and Davis.
I met these people in a parking lot.
Taylor admits she notarized this deed, even though she did not witness Reno Runk or his wife sign in front of her.
You did violate a golden rule, which is you're supposed to watch them sign it.
Yep.
Taylor tells me.
Oh, yep. Yeah, your business gonna suffer, man. Dirty practices, man.
She notarized even though she knew she should not, because Kinley and Davis, she says, convinced her to do it.
So, in other words, you said
She got convinced. All right, so yeah, so you're just a victim now. So Chris Carl said the lack of education is hurting us badly, and it's sad because some can never come out of this cognitive dissonance. Facts. Zane said paper terrorists is what the FBI calls them. Chris Carl says even if you beat the person across the head, they still won't let the pseudo info go. Yeah, man, it's I chalk them off as post-traumatic slave syndrome people. You know what I mean? They just suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome, and like it's nothing we can do with them. Like they're traumatized, and that's just it. Like they need to be sedated, they need medication. In my humble, inexperienced, opinion, they just need to be sedated and pushed to the side.
said I'm not supposed to put a notary without them being here.
Right.
And Taylor says she notarized that deed anyway. Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters says the auditor's office had no choice but to accept it.
Right.
Is it because the auditor's office, which is your first line of defense, has to take a document that is notarized?
Yes.
And they can't question?
Correct.
While Taylor notarized the deed that led to the Runk family home being transferred, other notaries pressed their seals for other deeds.
On paper, they own that house right there and that house right there.
Prosecutors say Kinley and Davis filed other fraudulent deeds on homes and apartments.
Yo, look what they did, man. They weren't satisfied with one home. They did a couple. Hey, yo, man, if you go that far, why not just sell it? You dig? Sell it for like a third under the market value. You'll get a quick buy. Quick flip. Man, they stupid. Oh my God, they're stupid.
Apartment building, even a church on the same block.
The church.
Stolen.
Yeah.
I have considered sentencing factors under 29.
On Wednesday, the couple faced a judge who sent them to prison for 5 counts of theft.
You can reject anything you want.
Kinley was sentenced to 18 months behind bars. Davis was sentenced to 2 years.
One will be 12 months.
While the case is now closed, it does expose a weakness in a system that allows couples like this to steal.
Yeah, she looks so confused. She looks like, wow, like, yo, we're wronged. We have the right to steal a home and a church and apartment buildings. You won't see your boo for 2 years.
If they can get that seal.
And it can be just like that your home is gone.
It's true. And I would very much support a way to block it, but it's tough right now. It's tough.
But reforming the system doesn't appear to be coming anytime soon. That notary, Julie Kathleen Taylor, has not been charged with any crime. And the Ohio Secretary of State's office confirms it just renewed her commission.
Wow.
Taylor tells me she intends to continue getting paid to notarize documents.
Yeah, that's a piece of trash right there. No accountability, right? That's crazy. All right. What we got? Oh man, I almost don't want to show this one because this is kind of sad. But did I show it yesterday? All right, so let's get to it.
Judge has found U.S. basketball star and Olympian Brittney Griner guilty on drug charges and sentenced her to 9 years in prison. CBS Christina Kraus has the latest on this morning's developments.
From a cage in the back of the Russian courtroom, Brittney Griner listened as a translator passed along the verdict. The judge found the 31-year-old basketball star guilty of deliberately bringing vape cartridges containing cannabis oil with her when she flew to Moscow in February. Before the verdict, Griner offered an apology to the court.
I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling that it doesn't end my life here.
Griner's lawyers had argued the Phoenix Mercury Center and two-time Olympic gold medalist inadvertently packed the cannabis canisters. They presented character witnesses from the Russian team she plays for in the WNBA offseason and written testimony from a doctor who prescribed her cannabis for pain treatment. Medical marijuana is legal in Arizona.
I never meant to hurt anybody. I never meant to put in jeopardy the Russian population. I never meant to break any laws here.
The verdict comes as U.S. and Russian officials are negotiating a prisoner swap. Last week, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke to his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov, urging him to exchange Griner and former Marine Paul Whelan for Russian arms dealer Victor Bout, known as the Merchant of Death.
We had a frank and direct conversation. I pressed the Kremlin to accept the substantial proposal that we put forth on the release of Paul Whelan and Brittney Griner.
Russia offered a counter-proposal, asking for the release of a Russian assassin held by another country. The White House is calling it a, quote, bad faith attempt to avoid the U.S. deal that's on the table. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
President Biden responded to the verdict saying Russia is wrongfully detaining Griner. He called on Russia to release her immediately and says his administration will continue to work tirelessly to bring her home safely and as soon as possible.
All right, well, there's some hope still for her. You know, according to Biden, the country is still working on negotiations to get her back. You know, so, and black folks always get the tail end of the white folks pseudo info. Yep, we joining the game years after white folks realized the joke. Yep, white folks don't hop on that sovereign bullshit. Russia tripping for that, but I guess this is to get back for Biden trying to interfere. Yeah, of course. With Russia and Ukraine. Yes. So I'm going to play one more video. I'm gonna play one more video.
With FanDuel Casinos, play it again. You can play your favorite casino games and get up to $1,000.
So I'm gonna play one more video. I'm gonna play one more video and I'll be back on later. I got a phone call to take. I got a young man dealing with some baby mama drama. He's like 22 years old and I'm helping him out. All right, he's gonna call me. He called yesterday. This is why I was disappearing yesterday. All right, here we go. Last video for right now.
A Black 4-year-old child drowned during a supervised swimming lesson, and the people who decided to not actually supervise him are not being held accountable. Let's put up his picture full mass. This 4-year-old.
Very sad, man.
The death of this 4-year-old child was announced on Wednesday by the Burt County Sheriff's Office. The child's family is seeking answers. That child's name is Israel Scott. Look at him. Israel Scott was attending his second supervised swimming lesson before the incident, the tragedy occurred at a residential pool on June 14th. Family still is seeking answers. The county deputies, here's your background. The county deputies arrived on the scene.
So I'm going to be back. I'm going to end this live. I'll be back probably, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock. I got an important phone call with the youth. I'm helping him out with his little baby mama situation. He's a new dad and he's making key mistakes and he's looking unfavorable in court. So any chance of custody, full custody, or even joint custody, he's sitting real bad. So I'm letting him know what he's doing wrong. You know, he's really making bad decisions. Texting and voicemails, like just stuff you can't take back. Like, dude, bugging. You know, young dude, emotional. You know.
After 11 a.m. that Tuesday, they were informed.
Anyway, let me just summarize this. The 4-year-old kid was taking swimming lessons at a private home, and it was a white family, and they're just gonna love this. And the white family did not allow the black mother in the house, to watch her son with swimming lessons. She can't take pictures. She can't do anything. She got to sit. She was forced to sit in the car and wait for the lessons to be done. I guess somebody knock on her window or come outside to the door and say, come get your kid. So his second visit, his second swimming lesson, which is supposed to be supervised, the little boy was unsupervised. You know how easy it is to get your phone to be your ring, you're gonna answer it, and in your mind you want to go right back where the kid is at, and you just be so distracted. Those things can happen. So many distractions in your home. This is why you shouldn't be at home. This is why I don't do home visits with kids. I don't do that because I learned the hard way. Like they got too many distractions in their home. It's like no, that's out. I don't do no more home visits. I don't need distractions. They make my job harder. So same thing with swimming teacher. She was just distracted, possibly or intentionally. I don't know. But I do know that the 4-year-old drowned and she wasn't there even long enough to like do a Heimlich or CPR, nothing. She was not around at all. Like the dude was damn near drowned when she realized he's in the pool. And there have been no charges on that swimming instructor at all, even though she's supposed to be supervising the kid. Like that's part of her niche. That's part of her like advertisement. Like these kids, they're well supervised. I'm always there. Because damn, just weird. So anyway, he's dead and the lady's not charged at this point. That's all I got on that. So I'm gonna get back on about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and we'll chop it up. Peace.